Loki, you crazy.
Life try. Every night. Welcome to another episode of Mentors Mentality. This is Sabelo Hlongwane, otherwise known as Coach Sabza. All right, topic for today. Very passionate about this. Learned so much about this. Need to share this message. Teamwork. What is teamwork? Teamwork applies in so many places, in so many ways. Could be at work, literally at your job. Could be in school, on a project. Could be on the field, right? Could be in a relationship. Could be with your siblings in a household, right? Could be family as a whole. Teamwork, so important. It is so important. It's such a big factor in so many ways and in so many things when it comes to just life in general. Teamwork. As always, I'm going to make examples from something that I learned through the sport of soccer and make examples of situations in life where that lesson that I learned within the sport that I love taught me a valuable lesson that I applied in life and it benefited me there. So I hope it could do the same for you. Teamwork, man. Teamwork for me, as a coach, I like to do certain exercises or drills that force you to comprehend the benefits of teamwork, the pros and cons. And so I believe with experiencing the pros and cons, you are able to be a little more attentive to the decisions that you make on how those decisions will impact your team in either a positive or a negative way. So one of the drills that I like to do is a passing drill. I call it considerate passing, right? So it starts off with like two players and they're spaced out about a yard apart with a soccer ball, and they're in a column or a lane, right? Let me say that. They're in a lane, and within that lane, there are cones set up to where it's a yard, and then after that, it's 3 yards apart. After that, it's 2 yards apart. After that, it's 5 yards apart. And then the last one would be, let's say 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 5, right? So you're looking at about 15-yard passes at the end. And so usually when I start this exercise, I just put the players there and I tell them the goal is to get 25 or 20 passes. Let's say I have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, right? So let's say I have 4 columns. And I'll say the goal is to get 20 passes in each column within that one row. So they'll go 20 passes. And then the one player will move back to extend the yard space and then or meters. And then the other player will move forward, so they go to the 3. After the 3, they'll move again, so it's a 4. After the 4, it's a 2. After the 2, right? So these are just examples. And so as they're going, I tell them, okay, it's a competition amongst all of them. Whichever two players get to pass all the way there and then all the way back between the columns while they stay in their lane, last ones to finish are the losers, right? But I won't explain anything. I'll just watch. And what I usually see or notice is the passes, they're trying very hard to pass back and forth, right? And in trying very hard, they're succeeding and failing at the same time. What's helping them succeed is that they're putting in the effort, but what's helping them fail is that they're putting in a little too much effort at times. They're inconsiderate, right? And so they keep going back and forth, and so they go, and at the end, that'll be the first round, and then, of course, punish the losers, just as an incentive to ensure that people want to win, right? And then that's the competitive side of it. So the first round will be done. So before the second round starts, I will explain, okay, now this time I want you to first answer these questions and then do what I tell you. So what worked for you guys and what didn't? Or what did you notice? And most of the time players will say, oh, I noticed that our passes were too soft. And I'm like, okay, when the space was bigger. I'm like, okay, what else do you notice? And then they'll notice, oh, the space differs in terms of size, right? We go from 2 yards to 1 yard to 3 yards to 4 yards to 15 yards. And so the weight of pass has to also change. Okay. Sometimes they can't find the answers to these questions, and so I have to help them out. And so I go through these questions just to see where their mind is at. And then I start to explain. You cannot play a pass, a 3-yard pass, the same way you play a 15-yard pass. Just mathematically, it doesn't make sense, right? Scientifically, however you may want it, it doesn't make sense. And so if a 3-yard pass needs to be different from a 5-yard, needs to be different from a 1-yard pass, what needs to change? The weight of pass, and then the second thing is keeping the pass consistent to where it gets to your teammate. But then I go a step further and I ask, what do you think your teammate needs to do when they get the ball? And the answer is very simple and basic: pass it back to you. And so I ask this question: if you know that they are going to pass you the ball back, how should you then play the pass to them? Should you not be expecting them to play it back to you? So basically pass them in a way that allows them to pass you back successfully, and they'll agree, yeah, that's what. And then I say, but imagine if both teammates thought the same way in that sense. If this one is thinking to support this one to succeed, and this one is thinking to support this one to succeed, and now you're both helping each other succeed, what do you think is likely to happen? And they say the passes will be quicker, right? And so round 2 will start, and they'll go, and you'll see sometimes teams that won will sometimes win again, or a group that won, they'll win again. But most of the time you see even the team that came second, third, or fourth in the first round will come first, because now they're a little more attentive to how they should pass, right? And I make that one drill is just set up to where it teaches the teammates the emphasis and importance of teamwork, right? So then I'll take that drill and I'll do other things, different drills, different exercises. And so in doing all those different drills and exercises, I'll always reference back, remember the considerate pass. So when you play a combination pass, we're still on the soccer example, I just hope you're keeping up. But when you play a combination pass and you're trying to beat a player and go through, don't you think you should be considerate of the angle, the weight of pass, and what foot you're passing? That's going to allow your teammate to then better help you get the ball back so you're through to go score. And so selfishly, a lot of players start to make sense of it when I express it in a selfish example or a way. And then they start to see, okay, that's the value of being considerate, is that it can still benefit me. And so becoming a good teammate opens up to them. But now we transition to a live situation, right? For me, I just took a lot of that team. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a team sport. And so I learned different aspects of teamwork. And then I remember watching Manchester United, which is the team that I support in England. And Sir Alex Ferguson was the coach at the time. And I remember watching players like John O'Shea, Darren Fletcher, Wes Brown. No, for a lot of you guys, these are players that you wouldn't think to mention. Jusing Park, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who is currently the coach now, or was the coach, I don't know. By the time you get to see this, it'll depend. But he's the coach right now in 2021. And there's quite a few players. Gary Neville was another one I would mention. Who else? Okay, so the point of what I'm saying is Sir Alex Ferguson would use those players for roles and responsibilities to complement the rest of the players that the rest of the world knew, right? So when Wayne Rooney played there, and Berbatov and Cristiano Ronaldo and Van Nistelrooy, Paul Scholes, Rio Ferdinand, Nemanja Vidic, Evra, Van der Sar, right? These are like great players that a lot of people, if not everybody, knows about. But they could not be successful without the influence and impact and role responsibility given to your Darren Fletchers, your Gary Nevilles, your Wes Browns, your John O'Shea's. Those are to me, watching that team, those were the people that really contributed to allowing that team so much success. And that's why Sir Alex Ferguson, with his ability to create that role and responsibility within a team, he was a very successful coach. He won 20 titles in 20 years or something ridiculous like that. And so watching him, watching him coach, I learned so much from that team, because it meant teamwork also challenges egos, right? So my ego says, I'm the best, I need to do everything. But in all reality, I can't do everything. I can only do what I'm very good at, and what I'm not good at, I need to delegate that to somebody else. That also aligns with in a job space, at work. There's a reason why there's certain departments. The marketing department complements the sales department, which complements the accounting department, which complements the entire business as a whole, and operations and so forth. If you can learn to delegate people that are skilled and capable in each area that they've mastered, that's what brings together a successful team. And that is what would bring a successful business to work, or a business to be successful. In a relationship, be it marriage, be it whatever phase it's in, parenting, things like that, I believe teamwork is such a strong attribute to success in that space, because maybe the mom is good at nurturing but isn't good at being strict, right, when the time comes, whereas the father is good at being strict but is terrible at nurturing. Now, if those two don't find a way to complement each other and appreciate what the other one does a lot better than the other, all that creates is just conflict. And that's where, to me, I believe it's an ego battle, right? The mom believes she's right to not be strict and to nurture. The dad believes he's right to be strict but to not nurture. In a sense, they're both right. In a sense, they're both wrong. What should be happening, in my opinion at least, is the good that you possess, we bring that to the forefront. The bad, we keep that away. And same on this side. The good that you possess, we bring it to the forefront. The bad, we keep it away. And as a result, the child gets nurtured, but is also taught how to be responsible, respectful, and many other things that come with being a strict parent. And so how those two things work, they complement each other, and that is a sense of teamwork, right? Now imagine you're at work and you allow your ego to overpower the decision that needs to be made instead of delegating. And as a result, you lose a big contract, you waste a lot of inventory, you lose respect, you lose a potential client, you lose employees because you are not accepting and appreciating the fact that it's a team that is going to help you and your company or business succeed, and not always you, right? So the challenge to teamwork for me is always egos. It's always egos. And so being humble, I think some people fear being too humble because you lose respect by being too humble. in some cases, right? When you have the right people around you, which is also a part of teamwork that matters a lot, picking the right teammate, right? Picking the right partner, the right employees, the right characters to complement what you're trying to do within that project, or just life in general. That matters too. But the ego of not being humble because you get disrespected as a result, I believe, is something that a lot of people need to overcome, because at the end of the day, you can't know everything, right? And you can't do everything, and you can't be in more than one place at once. And so showing that respect and appreciation, I believe, is a very powerful tool to success. And it all stems from, the essence of what teamwork really is. And I also believe that if you don't allow yourself the opportunity to be open-minded to certain things that require group effort, I think it's honestly a sense of ignorance. There's no way that you can bring a group of people together but try to work as individuals. That just conflicts with the concept altogether, right? But in the same sense, there's what they call groupthink. There's no way that you can bring a group of people and they all agree on the same thing, right? And groupthink, I think, is a result of people fearing to express themselves, right? Fearing to be heard. But in some cases, the opportunity is not presented for you to be heard, and so you shut down as a result and don't feel that there's any value in what you have to share. Meanwhile, you could have or hold the key to making things better and work for the better, not only for you, but for those around you and even those that come across you or encounter you, right? And teamwork for me is something that I feel a lot of people can learn from. And I'm gonna call my colleagues out on this. And I'm not perfect, so I'll be honest in that sense and say I've done the same or been in a similar headspace where I wasn't open to being a team player. Coaches, this is a message for you, okay? Coaches need to learn to be a part of the team too. And I think that is so impactful to players. Reason being, it's almost like a boss, except in that they are an employee too, right? But coaches, reason being, the opposite mentality or mindset is a very negative one, because it's a blame game mentality. Players appreciate it more when the coach is one of them, fights for them, values them, appreciates them, cares for them, mentors them, takes responsibility on their behalf while teaching them responsibilities too. All those things I believe players value so much, and that is what I think coaches like Jose Mourinho express, and so they get the most out of players. Those are the type of people, leaders, mentors, that can literally take a team that is considered the underdogs all the way to the championship. And Jose Mourinho is a great example, because he did it with a team called FC Porto in the UEFA Champions League. Granted, he had a lot of talent on that team, Benny McCarthy, Deco, just to name a few, who ended up playing, for bigger clubs after that experience, which Porto is a big club itself. But in the Champions League, they were definitely underdogs, but they went all the way. They went all the way to win it, and that put Jose Mourinho on the map. And I just think in college, as a college coach, I just think there's way too many college coaches who just think they know it all. In club soccer, I could see it, because there's still a lot of players in club that are lacking development. But at the college scene, I believe there's less players with a lack of experience and there's more players with experience. And so those players need mentors. They need people who can be a part of team workers. They need people who can be a part of the team, who can put together a team but still be a part of that team and not put themselves on a pedestal to say, when a player does something wrong, you hear coaches say, if you keep this up, I'll just recruit another player. I'll just replace you. And that's a sense of, you don't matter. You're replaceable. And I mean, I'm a competitive coach. As much as that is a honest and realistic statement to make, it's an egotistical one too. And so that's where I believe us as coaches could honestly end up creating our own downfall, or at least starting the downfall by thinking that we are bigger than the team and not trying to be a part of the team. And I just hope this message comes across in a positive sense to you. I'm not calling you out as a coach. I didn't mention names, right? I'm just saying it's something I've noticed a lot of. But I'm not calling anybody out as a coach that is saying the things that I'm saying are wrong. I'm just saying learn to pick your moments, pick your times, and express it in a way that doesn't come across more so as an ego talking, but rather a teammate trying to enforce their role and their responsibility to say, it's my role to notice that you are not giving it your all, and it is my role to call you out on it. And if you don't do that, then you're not being a teammate towards me, because I'm putting in the effort to analyze, study, and realize and express and share. And yet you are not going to take that message and use it to your advantage. So then in turn, it's an advantage for the team. That is teamwork. That is teamwork. Even as I'm speaking, I can feel the impact that mindset has or could have to an individual who is getting a message of either what we'd consider negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement to counter that, right? But teamwork is not only the coach calling the player out, but also the player taking the message from the coach. And on that note, I'm not going to let the players slide, man. I call the coaches out. I'm going to call the players out too. Players need to learn to take criticism from a coach. And I mean, there's other elements to it where apologies may be needed. In the moment, the coach may be heated, and so he's yelling across the field. And so you may receive that in a way that is not teammate-like and rather confrontational. I can respect that. I understand it. But that's where communication and the importance of that comes in, where the coach and the player need to sit down and say, hey, why did you yell at me? And then the coach can express, because you're 36 yards away and I just wanted to make sure you could hear me. And then that is squashed. Okay, what were you telling me? I was saying you need to fix this and that. In that moment, we needed you to be focused on that and you were focused on this. Okay, receiving that message as a player. Sorry about that, coach. I will fix it next time. Yeah, man, of course. Move on. Now, the next time that scenario happens, coach yells, the player can receive it better because they had that talk and understand. And so the message is received and we move on. And just like that, we are better than we were yesterday, which is always the goal with me, with Lufoy, with anything that I choose to engage in, always be better than the day before. I even feel like these podcasts that I've been doing sound different as I keep getting to, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th one and so forth. Unlike my first or second or third, because I'm learning as I speak, I'm learning as I go, and I'm trying to grow and I'm trying to ensure that, I express things that not only make sense, but are worthwhile and worth your time, right? But on that note, teamwork is, like I said, very important in more ways than one, in more areas of life than one. And so I hope this message reached you in good space, good mindset, and good standing. And this is Mentors Mentality with Coach Sabza. So do all the things, like, share, comment, tell me anything that you think I might have been wrong on, right on, experiences that you might have had that empowered your life for the better. that relate to teamwork. And yeah, I mean, as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I had something positive to contribute to you and those around you. Coach Sabza out.
Damn, Floki, you crazy.
Lifetime, every night, outshine.